Yo, this right here is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It's a super popular camera. You see it all over the place on social media. It's a vlogging camera, travel camera. It can pretty much do all the things if it's given enough light. But there's a new version of it, the Osmo Pocket 4. As this now is like 2.5, 3 years old. But I think the biggest feature of the Osmo Pocket 4 could be had in this current version with just a $40 to $50 accessory. So in this video, I'm going to show you what that accessory is, and let's see if it can really compete with the now new Osmo Pocket 4. This camera brings kind of action camera functionality paired with a gimbal. And those two things combined along with the one-inch sensor really made this camera separate itself from the point and shoots of the world, the traditional action cams of the world. And it kind of took the internet and the, filmmaking content creator space by storm. This camera has an f2 aperture with a 20mm equivalent lens off of its 1-inch sensor. It could do all the resolutions or frame rates you want. It could do 16:9. It could do 1:1. It could go all the way up to 4K 120. And then HD could go all the way up to 240. It has really good autofocus. You can shoot this in log. You can shoot this in normal color profile. And it could go up to 10-bit color. So there's a lot of things going well for this camera. So the Pocket 4 for me was like, okay, what are they going to add? Because I don't think you get a bigger sensor in here, and they didn't put a bigger sensor in the Pocket 4. They could do more resolution frame rates. Yes, they did do that in the Pocket 4. You could do up to now 4K 240 frames per second, as opposed to only being able to get that in full HD on the Pocket 3. But the one thing for me was the lossless zoom. Now I'm shooting this on a Sony camera, the ZV-E1, with a 135mm lens, f2.8. With this Sony ZV-E1, it has clear image zoom. So even though this is a prime lens, I could zoom in on this image right now and punch in to about the equivalent of almost a 200mm, even though this is a prime lens. They put that type of software and functionality in this Osmo Pocket 3. So even though this is a 20mm lens and it's fixed at f2, you can punch in 2x times with a lossless zoom. So you can go from a 20mm to about a 40mm. Now that was a recent firmware update that I think really added some versatility to this camera, because 20mm super wide can't really do that much with it. For me as a content creator, I'm not really a vlogger per se. I liked to have a punched in, as you see my background is hella compressed with the bokeh, and that's kind of my vibe. I couldn't really get that for the look that I wanted from this camera at 20mm. So putting that 40mm really added some punch to the ways that I could use this camera. So with the Pocket 4K, they now have a 4x lossless zoom. So now you're not only getting the standard 20mm, same lens and same aperture essentially. Now you're getting the 40mm on the punch-in of the 2x, but now you can go an additional 2x to get you that roughly 80mm 35mm equivalent in the Osmo Pocket 4. So I'm like, okay, that is an upgrade, because being able to get that clear lossless zoom. Now the term lossless means that there's no degradation of quality. Now if you pixel peep, you might see a little bit of a slight downgrade, but in regards overall to the resolution, not that big of a hit. So with the 4x being the biggest, I think, feature upgrade of the Pocket 4, I was like, okay, well, that could be a reason to upgrade. Now, I'm not looking to upgrade. This fits really well into what I want to do, and I'm going to get the occasional talking head stuff outside when I'm traveling, moving around, stuff like that. It's good enough with the 1-inch sensor with the compression, not the compression like this right here that you're seeing on the 135 f2.8, but good enough, for a little light travel setup with a little gimbal and tracking and all the bells and whistles that the Pocket 3 has. That 4x lossless, that could be a game changer, because the telephoto piece is the only thing really missing. On YouTube, I kind of came across a video that talked about a 2x teleconverter lens for this. Now I'm aware of lenses. I have a wide angle lens for this to make it a 16mm equivalent instead of the stock 20. And they have macro lenses, anamorphic lenses, stuff like that. But for me, those didn't fit in my workflow. But you tell me a 2x teleconverter that can make this 20 to a 40, and then let's do the math. If this has the 2x lossless zoom, that 40 then becomes an 80, which is the equivalent of what the Pocket 4 is. Okay, we cooking with gas. Let me go ahead and cop that and see if this can measure up. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 2x teleconverter on this. I'm going to show you the 20mm stock. Then I'm going to put the 2x teleconverter on top. And then we're going to do the 2x lossless zoom while the 2x teleconverter is on top of the stock 20mm to give us that 80mm equivalent. Okay? You copy that? We got all that math in? All right, cool. Pay attention to the 5 windows on the left. So this is the 20mm stock. We put the converter on. 2x punches in. Now you're only seeing 4 windows on the left. So that's your 20mm punching in to about a 2x, which is about a 40. Now we go in to the 2x lossless zoom. Okay, now you see the more compression in the trees in the background, stuff like that. So now you're looking at about roughly at 80mm. So you've gone from 20 to 80 all the way. Back out to the 40mm with the 2x. Now if we want to go back to the stock, this is 20mm straight up. So you went from seeing 5 windows to 4 to 1.5. All via the teleconverter lens in addition to the lossless 2x zoom. But if you want to do the straight 20mm and just do no lens and just do the straight 2x lossless zoom, there you go here. So you go from 5 windows to only seeing 3. Now seeing the 1.5 when we had a teleconverter, that kind of adds up to the 2x. No product is perfect and neither is this one. Not sure whether it's the strength of the magnets or the strength of the gimbal. But if you put the teleconverter on directly onto the Pocket 3, no problems, no issues. If you try to stack filters, if you have a Pro Mist filter or a ND filter, trying to put a Pro Mist filter on here, watch what happens. Starts to shake violently and then you get a calibration error. So you cannot stack filters with this. You see it again, nice and clean when it's by itself, no issues, the motors can handle it. But the minute you try to introduce another filter on it, you're going to get an error. You can try to force feed it and hold it steady and it might hold for a little bit in some of the testing I've done, but you cannot rely on that. So just go with this as a straight standalone attachment. Don't try to go extra cinematic with it, but still it can get the job done for what it is. So now that you've seen it for yourself, I think that 2x telephoto converter from Neewer can really give you the 4x that you would be getting if the Pocket 4 was available here in the US, but since it's not, I think this is a good little workaround to extend the lifespan of your Osmo Pocket 3 if you're like teetering on whether you should upgrade or not. And if I'm really keeping a buck with you all, I don't think the Pocket 4 is a suitable upgrade. I think it's like a spec bump, a software bump, kind of like going from an iPhone 15 Pro to a 16 Pro. I think if you wait, if you're really trying to upgrade and you're really trying to push what you can do with these types of cameras, I think you should wait until the DJI Osmo Pocket 4 Pro drops. Now that could be, from everything I'm reading online, that could be the actual bump up and upgrade from this, because it's a hardware and software bump, not just a software spec bump like I think, you know, for me, the Pocket 4 seems to be. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think this Neewer converter can really extend life of your Pocket 3. I like it. I think it gives a little bit more bokeh, it gives a little bit more punch for your talking head stuff. If that's what you use the Osmo Pocket 4, or just a straight up good telephoto that gets you from 40 to 80 potentially with the lossless zoom in addition to the 2x. I think it's an overall good product. I know there's been some other telephoto converter lenses that have been not up to par. I think the Neewer one is up to par. So let me know in the comments. There'll be an affiliate link down in the comments if you want to go check it out for yourself. It comes at no cost to you, a little kickback for me, all the usual YouTube stuff. But I go by the name of DSamD. This has been Shoot Free Tech. I'll catch you again on the next video real soon.